Welcome to another episode of You Grow Girl podcast. I'm your host, Stacy C. I hope that you have all enjoyed the last episode about purpose and a pause. Now, I haven't recorded any episodes because I've been sick. I've been sick for over a month. So I hope that you all are out there drinking your water, getting plenty of rest, taking your vitamin C or your elderberry. Stay healthy. I don't wish this on anyone. As you can see, I have no guest today, but I did want to do an episode finally to close out the year and the second season of You Grow Girl podcast. So today's topic is about ending this season and the expectations of a new season. Now, we've all heard the same cliche, new year, new me. So over this past year, there has been a new me because I started this podcast. I would have never, ever in a million years thought that I would actually bring this podcast to fruition. So I did follow in the cliche. Now, I didn't make any resolutions, but I did have a prayer that I prayed to God for me to go to the gym. So that was something that I did this past year. I, again, didn't have any resolutions, but I did other things, and I'm going to get into those in just a second. I did pray to God because I wanted to make a lifestyle change, the same old cliche as I fell into it of making a new me as well for going to the gym. So I prayed to God and asked God to make going to the gym a habit. I don't think I shared this on my podcast, but I've had some health challenges. And as you can see, I am a plus size woman and I have diabetes and high blood pressure. And I wanted to make that a change. I wanted to get off this medication and, get my A1C back to normal range. So in June, I prayed to God that He would make the gym a habit. So I said, God, either I'm gonna give it to December. Either you make me a snack or I'm gonna eat those snacks in December. And I felt like December would be a good time to maybe eat those snacks because it was Christmas time and I love Christmas snacks. So unfortunately for me, God made it that the gym became a habit. So I can say that with God and the consistency of going to the gym, I have successfully changed my A1C. It is now in a normal range. Now, I'm not skinny by any means, but I have lost some weight. And along with my medication that I take to help control my diabetes and to help with weight loss. So I have actually made that significant change and I'm very, very proud of it. Now, I will say that, I did share that I was sick for a month. So I was not able to go to the gym for an entire month. And I can say that I definitely felt it and I missed it. However, this past week, I have been able to return back to the gym and I absolutely love it. I love going to the gym. It is a great habit to have. It is a great way to release stress and anxiety. And, you get healthy as well. So I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So if anybody's out there looking to go to the gym, however, as somebody who now is a, consistent gym member, please don't start during the new year because I do want to be able to use my machines. But I suggest going to the gym. It is great for you or just getting out, especially when it gets warm, get out and walk, do whatever exercise, that you like and that is going to be consistent for you. Riding bikes, that's, also a great way to exercise. Now, in my first season, episode 2, I had my friend Kanisha and on the podcast, and also she's the resident therapist, and we discussed the New Year's resolutions, vision boards, prayer boards, or words of the year. And please check out that episode if you have not had opportunity to check that out. It is not on video, but it is audio only. And how it could help you into this year. So I will say that from that episode, I stated that I was going to make a vision board, which I have. And one of the things I want to talk about first before I go into my vision board is that I decided to write a letter to God and I put it in my Bible. And I actually wrote 3 letters. I thought I wrote 2, but initially I wrote one in 2020. And it took some time. I wrote things down and I remember my mom telling me years ago, when you write a letter to God, be very specific in what you ask for. And I was very, very specific in what I asked for and what I prayed for. And I can say that those things came to fruition. Did they come to fruition the next day? Absolutely not. They didn't come to fruition, the week after or a month after, but they came to plan. And I just want to say, thank you, Jesus, that those things came to fruition. And, so that led me to write another. So I wrote another in 2024. And before I wrote the letter, I read back to the one that I wrote in 2020. So it was really good just to read that and be able to reflect on all the things that God has been good in my life and has done good in my life, and has taken care of me and things. And I was very surprised as to not everything, came to fruition that was on my list, because I think I had a long list, but a lot of it did. And I was very surprised and thankful. It definitely gave me a sense of gratitude as to everything that God has put his hand on in my life. So in 2024, I wrote another prayer letter and asked for some additional things. And I don't want you to think like, oh, she's just asking for things like materialistic things. No, some of these things had to do with me personally, like spiritual growth and becoming closer to God. I know in 2020, I will share this. I did ask to become closer to God, and I got saved and I got baptized. So 2024, I was able to thank God for strengthening my relationship with him. Also, I'd started reading the Bible more often, and so that I could become better versed in the Bible and just to be able to apply it to my life. So I don't want you to think like, or listen to my podcast and think, oh, she's asking for like materialistic things like a car or a home. No, some of these things had to do with spiritual growth that I wanted to do, some emotional growth. And, I did ask for some other things, but I'm not going to say exactly what, but I did ask for some materialistic things as well. Because, I just believed and trust God to, move in my life. And most recently, I wrote one in 2025, but that one had to do with this podcast. So the other things were more so like personal things. But in 2025, I wrote it for the podcast because, as the scripture says, you write the vision and you make it plain. Getting into also, going back to my episode with Kanisha in season 1, I said that I was going to make a vision board, and I believe I made the vision board in February, if I'm not mistaken. I have not went back and read the things that I wrote in my vision board. I did write scriptures on the envelopes that I had for my vision board, and then I wrote things that I was praying for that related to those scriptures. And some of the things were like my family, my daughter, my finances, my relationship with God. However, I will share the photograph in here as well. And actually, I have chosen New Year's Eve, hopefully going into New Year's, to be able to read what I wrote in these cards to see how God has moved in my life for this year. So, also, the last thing this past year was the vision. I prayed to God about starting this podcast. Well, I thought about it for a long time, and I also talked to my therapist about it. So shout out to Sarah. I hope hopefully that she's listening. And I spoke to her about it, and she just encouraged me and said, just start it. So I started doing the research, because of my background and one of the degrees that I have. I have to do my research. Shout out to Dell State. Um, and I did my research for this podcast. So I researched what equipment that I needed. I researched how to be able to host the podcast and put it out. So I launched, and I just was courageous in doing this. I just launched the first episode, and I can say that this has been an exciting journey. I have grown in so many ways. And I can honestly say too that I am just so excited for this new season that's coming. I have changed the way I've done things. So I'm just like so excited about this podcast. And, I'm excited for what God is allowing me to do through this podcast to be able to honor him. So a few things that I want to talk about for this year, some trends that I've seen, especially on social media. If anybody knows me, I love social media. I love it. But one of the things I've seen that a lot of people have talked about, which I kind of like the idea of this, but it's from Chinese zodiac. And like this year, 2025 was the year of the snake, and the upcoming year is the year of the horse. And I believe that I was born the year of the horse. So I'm excited about 2026. But the year of the snake is about having a quiet truth, a gentle awakening, and brave honesty. And also with the year of the snake, you have shedding. So, because that's what snakes do. They shed the old and it come out with the new. Now, I want you to understand that shedding can be painful, but it also can be beneficial. Shedding is also healing. So, one of the things that I found myself doing in the year of the snake is that I was able to find strength to be honest with myself and what I wanted my new season in my life to look like. So I was able to shed how other people would feel knowing my truth and me being honest, not only with myself, but with others. And I was able to shed that. Like, I just didn't care anymore. I had to be completely honest. I'm just sharing what I shed this year. And I was able to shed some pounds. So I was able to do that as well. And I am so grateful for those things, to be able to shed that dead weight, so to speak, off of me. And, there are lots of things that you can shed for this year. You can shed some old clothes, you can shed makeup, relationships, anxiety, fear, and some of these things can be very difficult, again, to shed off of you, but it's so beneficial when you start to go into the healing phase. Now, the year of this horse, 2026, which I am so excited about, that is year of movement, courage, and momentum. I am excited about this because I feel like year 2026 is going to be the year for this podcast. I believe that God is going to move this podcast in ways that is going to be beyond my expectations. I think that this year is going to be a year of growth, which, You Grow Girl is about. So I think it's going to be a time for action. And I also believe, too, that things are going to be clear. I'm going to feel more aligned in what my plans are. And I feel that I'm going to have more courage to run to what is waiting for me. And that's what they say, that from my research, that the year of the horse is about being more aligned, speaking your truth clearly, and having, expectations. So some new trends that I saw this year that I enjoyed watching, I'm sure everyone else saw this year as well, was celebration cakes. So people had cakes and they were taking toothpicks and like putting like little pieces of paper on the toothpick or a post-it, and they were just celebrating things that they accomplished this year. I saw someone say that they bought a new home, for instance. Someone had gotten a job after being without one for so long. Someone graduated from college, and someone changed professions or whatever. And I also saw someone say on a cake, which I love this, because I started reading this book, and someone said that they let the people be them. They let them. And I did read that book, and I will be talking about that on season 3 as a sneak peek. So, and I will have a guest as well, and we'll be talking about that book. I hope that you all have a chance to go get that book, by the way, by Mel Robbins. The Let Them Theory. It's a great book, phenomenal. So again, back to the celebratory cakes. So once they did the whole, cake about what they did, or the toothpicks about what they did in 2025, they also had use the cake to talk about what they wanted to do or their expectations for 2026. And I just thought that was just a great idea, to be able to celebrate your wins for 2025 and also what your expectations are for 2026. I also saw this lady that I follow, and she is a motivational speaker. She is a life coach, and I can't think of her name offhand. And she made a video of herself asking herself questions. So she was asking herself if she did certain things. And I love that idea of asking, making a video and talking about the things that you want to manifest for your life the following year. And then at the end of the year, she answered those questions. And she was like, and a lot of her things that she asked herself in the beginning of 2025, she was able to say yes. So I just thought that that was just like such a great idea, is to be able to celebrate your wins for 2025 and what you anticipate for 2026. Now, There are so many things on social media. Like, I know I love music. This podcast is on Spotify, for instance. And I know Spotify does Spotify Wrapped. And it was very interesting to see, not really, but the music that I really loved all this year and everything, and how much music I listened to. And also because, I listen to my podcast and I listen to a lot of other podcasts as well. On Spotify, I was able to see that You Grow Girl was my top podcast of the year. And I hope that you all have listened to You Grow Girl podcast. YouTube, I know Instagram, TikTok, they always do a recap. So you're able to see like what you did this year. Maybe you went on a lot of trips. Maybe you took a lot of photos of different things. I haven't done my recap for TikTok yet, but I definitely will. And I know a lot of my podcast episodes will be on there, as well as my concert that I attended this past year, which, I just enjoyed. And I'm actually looking forward to going to some BTS concerts this year. They are making a comeback. So for me this year, I am asking God to show me how and where to go. I am praying that God shows me the plan and he makes it so clear that I can't even question or mistake where he wants me to go. So that's what I'm expecting for this year. Also, there is no time to waste. And I think that you need to do, this is anyone, you need to do whatever is calling on your heart. So make 2026 the year of action, like it said in the Chinese zodiac. Make it your year of action. If something is tugging on your heart, if you want to start a podcast, start it. If you want to go on trips, go. If you want to learn new language, do it. If you want to go back to school, go. Make sure that you make 2026 the year of your action and do what is calling on your heart. I also saw and this kind of goes back to the social media thing, that a lady did and said that she was going to make a list of all the things that God has done for her this, over the year. And I thought that that would be a great way of being able to show gratitude and a great way to help you remember how good God is. And that's actually something I think I may do in my phone, just in my notes section. But anytime that God has done something for me is to put it in my notes. And any time, and what she suggested was, at times when you may feel, hopeless or in despair, that you can go back and look in those notes and read all the things that God has done for you in your year. And I'm telling you, I know it will make you feel better to be able to have and see how good God is. Now, that was just something short, to go over for the year. So as 2025 comes to a close, I hope that you take a moment to honor how far that you've come, what you survived and what you released or shed, what you are still becoming. Growth isn't loud or perfect. Sometimes it's messy, quiet, and deeply personal. As we step into 2026, I'm not chasing perfection. I'm choosing intention, peace, and progress over pressure. I hope you do the same. Wherever you're headed next, remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. Moving forward, keep growing and keep choosing yourself. And as always, so I want to thank you all for your support this season. I especially want to thank my guests this season. And in each episode, whether it was fun, such as, talking about K-pop music, or if it was something serious, talking about the purpose in your pause, I grew. I learned so much in each episode and from each of my guests. And this is what I want my podcast to be about, is growth and evolution. So I hope that you enjoyed season 2 of episode 5 of You Grow Girl podcast. I'm your host, Stacey C. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, and share, and comment. And please comment, what are your expectations for 2026? What are you expecting God to do in your life? And make time to see you grow, girl.